So here's these might be stats that you guys have seen before. I sometimes will remind myself of these stats that are out there because I think that these are really loud into some of the work. I know that all of you do as well, is that when you think about frontline workers in today's society, they're the heart and soul of everything that we do in the market. And if you think about it from 80% of frontline of all global workforce is frontline workers, you can really start like breaking it down that says, wow, these are skilled trade roles, these are manufacturing roles, these are technology roles, these are allied health roles. And again, those are the roles that are all in the news today as to where we have gaps in needing humans to fill the gaps. There's not enough people to fill these roles. And so, one of the things that Pace AI does, and what we recognize again, is that there's this huge gap in English proficiency. In fact, I was looking at data that said if you think about it, 1 in 4 frontline workers lacks English skills. And really, those skills not to maybe greet folks, but to really understand safety training, to really understand concepts in the role that they're doing, or quite frankly, in the role that they're doing today, but they want to be upskilled into a role tomorrow. And so language is at the heart of really holding so many learners back. And again, for many of you, might be something that you already know and that you deal with. And so for us, what's really important is that we look at every learner, assess each learner, and then we put them on a path to a training that meets the skill level that they're at, and then provide them 250 languages within the AI tutor to help them advance into a higher role or into an upskilling. And so again, what I would say is kind of the thing that I would leave you with on this one is really, how do we start putting the frontline workers at the heart of everything that we do and setting each one of them up for success? Here's again, like not to kill you with stats, but when you think about this, again, a couple things that stand out to me and always stood out to me while I was at GED is that 30 million adults lack a high school diploma out there. And when you think about all the gaps that exist in all these frontline roles, these are the learners that really need to get their GED in order to get to the next level, because it's really important that they get the GED as a accelerator into post-secondary or certifications. And again, what I would call out here is that 25% of all OSHA incidents are contributed by language barriers. And one of the examples that I had recently was with a large manufacturing client. And one of the things that they said is that we provide all of our frontline workers with training, very specific OSHA training, to make sure that we're covered from a safety and a security standpoint. And there was a recent fire in this manufacturing warehouse. And what they found was that the individual did not understand what a fire extinguisher was. And it wasn't because they hadn't taken the internal training, and it wasn't because the picture of the fire extinguisher, maybe he recognized it, but he actually didn't know English well enough to know that that was the fire extinguisher. And so again, I think when you think about language barriers, what's happening is that learners are doing enough to get by, but it's not enough to put them and their company in a safety position. And it's also certainly not enough for the learners to advance in their career. They need more help, they need more guidance, and they need to have tools that set them up to meet them where they're at within their roles. Okay, so what is PACE? I'm sure all of you are saying, what is PACE? I've heard PACE, maybe you haven't heard of PACE. So what is PACE? So you can go to the next slide and I'll kind of break this down. But PACE AI is really the only AI-powered competency-based curriculum that equips learners with the foundational skills in English, in health literacy, financial literacy, civics education, basic communication. And so what that means is if you see on the left side of the screen, you see the ESOL 1 all the way to ESOL 6. And then below that, you see the consumer economics, the health, the employment, basic communication, community resources, and citizens. So think about this as a platform that offers ESL training from all the way to the basic level, all the way up to ESL 6, all aligned to the CASAS standards. And then we also train them on ESL, but then bring them into all of those 6 roles. So what that means is as a learner, I could be learning English and I can be learning skills within health and literacy. So if I need to make a doctor's appointment, how do I go ahead and make a doctor's appointment? What does that look like? What is that process? Or maybe I'm trying to understand basic communication. I have a job interview and I need to really understand and talk about what are the expectations when I enter that interview and what are the communication skills that I need to have in order to be successful in that interview. So think about it as an ESL training platform that is in 250 languages. So if I'm a learner that speaks Haitian Creole, I can go in and really study English, learn English from the very basic level all the way up to level 6. And I can integrate with all of those 6 areas so that I can really not only communicate in English, but understand how to persist in different aspects of my life and not just my job, but even outside my job. And I think, again, as someone who's been with GED learners for the last 13 years, what we found is that those foundational skills are really lacking within adult learners. Every adult learner has such a different background, where they grew up, maybe what household they lived in, who do they have to look up to help them navigate from a career perspective. And so we think that not only offering the English language learning skills is important, but these foundational skills are, again, really the opportunity for learners to build confidence in themselves so that they feel confident walking into a job interview, asking the right questions about what I should be doing. And then what we do is we take all of these skills and all of this, when a learner goes through this and then builds the confidence and they now can speak English and now they can talk intelligently in an interview and they can talk about civics and government where they can navigate things in their world, then our goal is to say, now, how do we take this really confident learner and then accelerate them into a career path from there? And what I'll talk about next is how we've taken PACE into mobile and into employers. So right now, if you look at this and you see this, like think about the learner having their smartphone. And this learner, for example, works at Walmart. And so I'm a Walmart employee. And now I can integrate Walmart's training into our platform. So you can see this is a Walmart Build Trust in the Business practice discussion. And then the next one is Build Trust in Business competency. And then you see the third one is actually a PACE 360 that we just discussed, where we can integrate into existing clients' training and development. And so we are smartphone enabled, meaning that we can create a very personalized experience for every single learner. So if Rachel is working at Walmart and I'm working at Walmart, and maybe Rachel's at a level 2, but I'm at a level 6, I'm going to meet Rachel at the level 2 and meet Vicki at the level 6. And keep in mind, through all of these different courses, you can toggle between 250 languages. So if I'm the Haitian Creole learner and the training is in English and I don't understand a concept, I can highlight at any time, or I can ask for an interpretation of any word, any sentence, any concept in my native language so that I can really grasp the concepts. Again, instead of just going through the English and not really understanding what it is, I think that's the part that I think what we've really seen has really increased success and confidence in learners is they're not just learning, they're actually grasping the concepts. And then when they're grasping concepts, their confidence level is going up. So think about PACE as 24/7, 250 languages, meeting every learner where they're at and integrating with existing employers' content to make sure that we're surrounding every learner with all the things that they need to be successful. And then here's some of the use cases that we have in developing a career pathway. So when you think about, again, integrating some of these foundational learning into career pathways, we launched, I'll show you in this, we launched the AI tutor into some really powerful OSHA training examples. So what you'll think about here, so think about frontline workers that are in those manufacturing roles, or maybe they're in a skilled trade, construction, electrician, HVAC, plumbers, all of that. We're working with those organizations to integrate our AI tutor into the content. So you'll see here, this is around safety and scaffolds. And so again, back to that 25% of OSHA incidents happen because they don't really understand or they may have barriers in language. Think about this as that the content is on the left side and what is a scaffold, and on the right side, the learner can ask, can you explain to me what a scaffold is? And a scaffold outside of this content can mean lots of different things. And so again, we meet every learner based upon only the content that they're reading. So the scaffold is really tied to this type of learning. On the right side, the learner can highlight and ask, what is a scaffold? And then you can do it in your native language. And then you can continue to ask the AI tutor anytime along the way, can you ask me what supported scaffolded mean? And again, think about the learner that's really trying to learn it, grasp it, and then do it in their native language, all while learning English along the way. So this is an example of what it looks like in an OSHA training. And then the next example is we fully integrated Pace AI into the GED mobile app. And this was a lot of fun for me because we had launched just our first mobile app 2 years ago. And what we found is that learners love to be on their phones, as we all know this, because we know that today's learner is a very different type of learner. It's a learner that wants something quick, it wants something engaging, it wants something that's going to help them that they can have at any point. So we launched what we call the SID AI tutor. If you look at that little yellow little emoji, that's SID. So that's the AI tutor living within the GED content on the mobile app. And so think about a learner that's studying to get their GED. Math is the toughest subject. It's the most intimidating subject, and it's the subject that most learners have the hardest time passing. So we integrated into this, and what you'll see is SID is giving step-by-step directions of the value of X, Y, and Z. And then below the specific examples, it's giving them predetermined questions that the learner doesn't have to think about asking. Because what we found is a lot of time learners don't even know what questions to ask as to why they're not getting something right. Well, I might have gotten something wrong because I didn't understand mixed numbers. Well, Rachel might have got something, we might have gotten the same question wrong, but Rachel got it because she wasn't converting fractions. And I got it because I didn't understand mixed numbers. And so we're really meeting the learners where they're at and then creating questions to prompt them so that they can really, again, grasp concepts at a very deep level. And so when we did this, we launched the SID AI tutor in the mobile app for GED, and we had 180% increased engagement within the first 3 months. And just as a marker, 180% engagement, when 750,000 learners sign up every single year to get their GED, that engagement number is significant. It's touching thousands and thousands of learners, and they're engaging at a higher level. We also saw that 4.9 points higher on the test. And so why that's really, really significant, because someone might say 4.9, that doesn't seem like very much, but 70% of learners that failed their test, their math test, they failed it within 5 points or less. And so now what you're seeing is increased engagement, which also equals increased confidence. Now you're seeing higher points scored on the test, which now is converting learners from someone who may have failed to now passers. And then now what we're also seeing, and this is now about 6 months into the data, is that when a learner failed their first test and they came back and they engaged with SID, the AI tutor in the mobile app for 5 sessions, they're passing at 50% higher. 50%. And so again, these are like monumental when you have so many learners that the GED is really the next accelerator for them to go on to get into a certification, into a post-secondary pathway. And so you can see why this is super exciting. And right now at the GED, I'm still a board member at GED. They just launched the AI tutor into science, and then social studies is next, and then RLA is at the end. So think about this as SID living in all of the content for all 4 subject areas within the GED. So it's super exciting. We love this data. It's changing lives, and it's really, again, putting learners on a path to go on to their next move with it, which is, either learning a skilled trade or going on to post-secondary. And then this is coming soon, and you guys are getting a preview into something that we're going to be launching pretty quickly, and which is really exciting. Is again on the left side of the screen, you'll see a allied health training. So this is for someone that wants to go on and be a phlebotomist or a med tech or someone in the medical field. And what we've done is ingested our AI tutor into this learning content. And so again, it's that same concept where it says, okay, here's all the content that I need to learn. But again, maybe I don't know what the principle of complementary means and anatomy. And so it will show you exactly, you can highlight it anytime and it will show you what that means. And then you can again ask it in your native language so that you can grasp the concept. And when I say this is coming soon, it's coming very soon. So what will happen now is we will take learners who may have graduated high school or maybe still are earning their GED and then putting them on a career path to a allied health role. And so this is something that's around the corner that we're excited to announce very quickly. But I think in closing, I think what you can see is that AI is changing the way learners learn. It's really giving learners an opportunity to ask questions that maybe they wouldn't ask in a classroom because it's embarrassing. It's giving them the support if their language is really not at the level it should be from an English proficiency standpoint. And AI is also judgment free. And so learners can really ask AI anything along their training, whether it's earning their GED, going into an allied health. We're working with the IEC as well on electricians and moving into manufacturing, moving into mechanics. But learners are able to really get their arms and hearts and souls around concepts in a way that we haven't been able to do for everyone 24/7. We haven't been able to do and meet everyone at the language that they're at. And so it's really powerful. And for me, I feel like I felt like I was so lucky and fortunate to be leading the GED organization for as long as I was. And to find this role and to be part of PACE AI has really been even more rewarding and life-changing for me. Knowing that I'm still learning AI, I'm still intimidated by AI. I can't imagine how our learners feel. And so it's really exciting to see where we're headed, where we're going.